Chapter 2. How to Immigrant. My family immigrated from Hong Kong to Los Angeles in 2000, when I was 13 years old. 13 is an awkward transitional period for any prepubescent teen. Not only did I have to learn about my newly found pubes, I had to move to a new country, learn a new language, and assimilate into a new culture. My parents moved to America hoping for a better college education for my brother and me. To most foreigners, America has the most prestigious universities and the best job opportunities for college graduates. Ironically, the only people who might disagree with that sentiment are people who actually live in America. The grass is always greener, and the college diplomas are always shinier from a different country. Even though Hong Kong is one of the biggest metropolitan cities in the world, it just doesn't seem to have the same opportunities America has. You can make it big as a banker, a real estate developer, and a doctor in Hong Kong, but you can literally be an astronaut, a rock star, or anything you want in America. We moved here believing in the American dream. Los Angeles seemed like an easy choice for my family. My aunt and my grandparents had already immigrated, and they had lived in LA for more than 10 years. And my parents wanted my brother and me to go to USC or UCLA, both of which later rejected me. At least my brother is now a proud UCLA graduate, so the immigration wasn't a total loss for my parents. I was scared to leave the only place I'd known, but I couldn't wait to see all the massive mansions, fancy sports cars, and beautiful people that I'd seen in Hollywood movies. I thought I was going to be neighbors with Harrison Ford, Brad Pitt, and Jennifer Aniston. The first day my family got to Los Angeles, we visited my grandparents in Beverly Hills. But it wasn't anything fancy like I had expected from Beverly Hills. They lived in a quaint little 4-unit apartment complex on the edge of town. We walked up some old misshapen stairs to their unit. Coming from the skyscrapers in Hong Kong, I was very amused by this little 2-story building. I'd never been to anyone's home that didn't require taking an elevator. The apartment had a dull, dusty scent. It was some kind of old people stench. I used to call it grandpa smell. It was a small space, and my grandparents had put a familiar Chinese touch to it. From the kitchen to the living room, it was filled with Chinese newspapers, Chinese food and furniture from China you'd never see in other American households. Like this small plastic stool you'd squat on in the kitchen, people used it to prep the food on the floor level. You can only find that in China. It was a classic Chinese immigrant's home where Chinese decor met American architecture. That day, Grandpa took my dad and me to his favorite restaurant in Los Angeles. I was ready for my very first American feast, and I was excited to explore Tinseltown. 3 generations of Chinese strolling down the beautiful streets of LA. We walked down La Cienega Boulevard, a main artery of LA. Every building we passed by was wide and short. In Hong Kong, every building was slim and at least 20 stories tall. That's the only way to cram 7 million people on an island the size of San Diego. It was nice to leave the concrete jungle and see the wide-open California sky, but at the same time Los Angeles felt a bit empty and lacking in humanity. There were only a few pedestrians on the streets. It was eerily vacant compared to the human sardine can I was used to in Hong Kong. The streets were massive gray pavements with 6 lanes of traffic and a narrow sidewalk. This was definitely a town built for cars, not humans. We walked by a few strip malls with dreary dry cleaners and generic burger shops. I'd never seen a strip mall before. Every mall in Hong Kong was a monstrous shopping center that stretched vertically for multiple levels. These monotonous strip malls with flat white paint looked like the lonesome Wild West with the proverbial tumbleweed rolling by. Finally, we walked by a Pizza Hut, one of my favorite restaurants back in Hong Kong. I asked Grandpa, "Can we eat here?" "You can't eat here. There's nowhere to sit." I didn't realize this Pizza Hut was just a kitchen for pizza delivery. What a fraud. The Pizza Hut in Hong Kong was a nice sit-down restaurant with a swanky salad bar. You could order pizzas with shrimp, a fancy pie crust soup, and my favorite seafood pasta. This American version of a pizza oven inside of a hole in the wall was quite jarring to me. How is the authentic version so much shittier than the foreign version? I felt betrayed. 15 minutes into our supposedly 10-minute walk, I asked my grandpa in Shanghainese, "Are we there yet?" It's a universal saying amongst impatient children around the world, in all languages. We are very close, just a few more minutes. We ended up walking for 45 minutes in the sweltering dry heat of a Los Angeles summer. We finally arrived at our destination. It was the biggest strip mall yet. On one side, there was a huge two-story building called LA Fitness. I wasn't quite familiar with the concept of gyms yet. We didn't have corporate gyms in Hong Kong. Everyone was skinny. On the other side of the strip mall, there was a small glass building. Grandpa pointed to it and said, "This is it, my favorite restaurant in LA. It's authentic Mexican cuisine. They don't have this in China." I looked up at the sign.
El Pollo Loco.
I had never heard of El Pollo Loco. I didn't even know the name was in Spanish. I thought it was 3 English words I hadn't learned yet. I was disappointed that a 45-minute hike ultimately ended in a fast food joint. But once we walked in, I realized this place was unlike any fast food restaurant I'd ever been to. I saw the biggest grill I'd ever seen in my life behind the registers, packed with rows of whole chickens with a beautiful brownish-yellow tint. It smelled absolutely delicious. I looked through the glass panel and I saw a cornucopia of sides: rice, beans, mac and cheese, corn, and an interesting green substance, which I later learned was called guacamole. My grandpa went up to order in his Shanghai English, 6 pieces, dark meat. Then he turned around and explained to us in Shanghainese. They let you choose which part of the chicken you want here, dark meat and white meat. Dark meat is the good parts. White meat is the breast. It's dry and rough for American idiots. Grandpa's words of wisdom. To this day, I still only order dark meat. Then the cashier asked Grandpa, "Flour or corn?" "Flour." And once again, he turned around and explained it to us in Shanghainese. They give you these bread sheets to wrap your chicken in. Flour is good. The corn ones taste funny. After a college trip to Tijuana, I realized the corn ones didn't taste funny. They tasted authentic. I now strictly order corn tortillas. Sorry, Grandpa. Grandpa finished the order with 3 cups of water. He said to us, "They make their money by overcharging you on soda. You can just get a free water cup and fill it with whatever you want." My mind was fucking blown. You can pour your own soda here? And it's free? Wow. Jesus could turn water into wine, but in America you could turn water into Dr. Pepper. What a beautiful country. Then there was the salsa bar. What can I say about the salsa bar that hasn't been said about Disneyland? It was a magical kingdom of color and flavor. The El Pollo Loco salsa bar exemplified American freedom. Land of the free, home of the salsa bar. Take whatever you want. It's free, Grandpa said. I thought he was messing with me. I looked at that salsa bar in front of me like a virgin staring at a naked Gigi Hadid. This can't be. This is too good to be true. Grandpa noticed my hesitation and he nudged me forward. Go ahead. Take as much as you want. Take some home if you want to. Why would anyone ever buy onions and cilantro if it's already finely chopped and free for the taking here in El Pollo Loco? If I had known what the word loco meant, I would have understood. There is so much freedom in this fast food joint. It's loco. El Pollo Loco was the most American place I'd ever been to. After stuffing ourselves full of dark meat and free salsa, we had to walk the same 45 minutes back to my grandpa's apartment. This was way before Uber. I was exhausted that night, but I couldn't sleep. My first day of American school was tomorrow, and the only thing I knew about America was El Pollo Loco. The first day I walked into John Burroughs Middle School, I felt like Andy Dufresne getting off the bus and walking into Shawshank Prison. John Burroughs was a middle school in the LA Unified School District that went from 6th to 8th grade. I was 13 years old, which placed me in the 8th and last grade of the school, which meant I started in this school where everyone had already known each other for at least 2 years. It's always scary for a new kid to move to a new school. I was a new foreign kid moving to a new school on a new continent. I was scared, confused, and anxious. A part of me wanted to keep to myself, but another part of me desperately wanted to make some new friends. I was never shy with strangers, but this was an entirely different world. It was a different culture, a different language, and a different educational system. It was like I was transported to an alternate universe. Before classes started, I walked through the exercise yard where all the kids hung out. This would be what they called Gen Pop, or general population in prison. In Hong Kong, we only had Chinese kids in school. In John Burroughs, there were kids of every race, every religion, and every size. I had never interacted with white people, Black people, or Hispanic people before. I didn't even know where to start. Then, I was relieved to see a group of Asian kids who looked like my friends back home. I walked up to them to introduce myself in my native tongue, but when I got close enough, I realized they were speaking Korean. I froze and walked away with my tail between my legs. My hopes were crushed. I soon realized that all the Asian kids in this school were Koreans. I wasn't racist. I just didn't know how to speak enough English to have a conversation yet. I had learned English in Hong Kong the way American high school kids learn Spanish. I knew some vocabulary words, but I couldn't carry on a conversation. It felt like everyone was speaking way too fast. I was desperately hoping for some Chinese kids I could cling onto in this new school. In hindsight, this was a blessing in disguise. If I had gone to an American school with a lot of other Chinese kids, I would not have been forced to assimilate, and I would have probably turned out to be the dude selling dim sum in Chinatown. I made my way to the basketball courts. I was a pretty good basketball player back home, so I was hoping to show off some of my skills and earn some first-day respect. For a fleeting moment, Yao Ming blocked Shaquille O'Neal, and I thought I could be a baller in the NBA. But for the sobering fact that I was 2 feet too short, I really thought I could have made it. Then I saw Marquise. Marquise was an 8th grader who was 6'2", and looked like he was 25. He was a grown-ass man. As I walked towards the hoop, he ran by me in a blur and took off into the air for a monster slam dunk. My jaw dropped to the hot cement. I'd only seen NBA players do that on TV. You are telling me regular 13-year-old kids can do this in America? My mind could not comprehend this superhuman athleticism. I scurried off of the court without making eye contact with anyone. My hoop dreams were crushed. Marquise's dunk made me feel inadequate as a man.